Hello, my name is Coach Peter with Breadcaster Fitness, and today we're going to talk about water. Now, we all know that water is extremely important for us, but some of us have trouble consuming water for many reasons. But let's talk about some numbers that will give us some perspective on how important water is for us. So when we look at the healthiest version of ourselves, what is the percentage of water in our entire body? So again, when we're taking the context of the healthiest version of us, 60 to 70% of your body should be water. Okay, so of your total weight, if you weigh 150 pounds, 60 to 70% should roughly be around 110 to 120 pounds of water should be your total body weight, right? Now, 70% of your body being water would be more of an athlete who has very little to none body fat. Someone who's around 60% is the one who's just seeing their abs starting to come out. And that's a person who is in their healthy range when they go to the doctor and they say, oh yeah, you're fine. Your blood test shows that your cholesterol levels are fine. Your blood pressure is great. Your blood glucose levels are normalized. And your body temperature is fine, your blood pH, your acidity is great. It's sitting at a pH of 7. So when your body is showing good health measures, again, your percentage of water is around 60 to 70%. Now, when you look at muscle, healthy muscle tissue, where you don't have cramps, where your body's not aching, where you don't have pain in your body, especially around your joints, 80% of your muscle tissue should be water. Okay, so what is that 20%? 20% of your muscle is protein and other types of, let's just say other types of nutrients. But mainly your muscle tissue is going to be water and glycogen. So there's something, Brett says this thing that is really easy to understand when you think about carbohydrates. What's the function of a carb? You take a carb, it hydrates you. So for every 1 gram of carbohydrate, you can retain up to 3 grams of water. So water is very important in our bodies, right? So let's talk about the function of water. Why do we need water? If you think about just being a normal human being who has to get up and who has a job or any sort of responsibility where you're a mother, if you have to utilize your energy, what's going to happen is the food that you eat is going to break down into energy, heat, and then you're going to have something called metabolites. And that's the byproduct. It's like when you drive your car, you put gasoline in and then, it makes energy, your car's driving, and all of a sudden you have fumes come out the exhaust pipe. So those fumes, those are metabolites. Like in our body, you can have metabolites called lactic acid, ketoic acid, uric acid. You have all of these metabolites that come from the byproduct of our food. So carbs turn into lactic acid without oxygen. Your fats turn into keto acid. And then your proteins turn into uric acid. So anyways, you have these metabolites that they're formed as a result of utilizing these energy molecules. And the thing is, if you have all these toxins built up in your body, guess what happens to you in the long run? You end up getting sick. So our body doesn't like feeling sick. So when you start having a headache, you have migraines, your body gets really hot, you have phlegm, and you feel like your energy is really low, that's when your sickness is coming out. That's when you have this buildup of sickness. Now, the thing is, if you had a strong immune system where your body is constantly filtering out the metabolites, then you wouldn't have many sick days. And that's why a lot of people who exercise on a regular basis, they don't really end up getting sick as often as people who are sedentary. It's because they're constantly flushing their blood. Okay, so what are some ways that we are getting rid of these metabolites? Well, we know that the largest organ is skin, so sweat is one way. But another way that we actually end up releasing these metabolites through our urine, right? So your blood is constantly filtering out all of the bad old blood that is unusable, and it's going to put it into your bladder through the kidneys. The question is, though, if you're not drinking water, how is your body going to maintain your blood pressure? It does it by not creating urine. So you're constantly filtering all of the old blood, the bad blood around the body because you're not drinking water. And that's probably why you're feeling sluggish. You're probably feeling sick. It's because your blood is thick. It's not clean. It has all of the old blood. So that's one need to drink water. Another reason to drink water is because when you end up using a lot of energy, guess what happens to your body temperature? It starts to elevate. Now, if your body overheats, think about you going to the beach and then you're just sitting outside and it's getting really, really, really hot. And then you get to a point of heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Does that person have a lot of energy? No. So what water does is water actually helps you regulate your temperature. And when you have enough water, you actually end up sweating. So water carries temperature and then it regulates your body temperature. So that's another way that your body gets rid of metabolites through sweat. But you can't do that if your body is not drinking enough water. So let's look at a few examples of where water is really, really, drinking water is really obvious, okay, or the lack of. So if you're not drinking water, think of you being in the desert. By the time you're super dehydrated, are you moving fast or are you moving slow or maybe not at all? Right? So it's the latter. You're not moving that much when you don't have enough water. So when you don't have enough water, you have brain fog, you're fatigued, your muscles are cramping, your back is hurting. There's a lot of pain associated with not drinking water and a lot of memory fog. Now, when you have an abundance of water, guess what happens to your body? Okay, so think about drinking tons and tons of water to the point where you have to pee. Now, when you have to pee, are you relaxed or are you moving abundantly? You're moving abundantly. So what does that do to your energy? You can say that when you have an abundance of water in your body, your energy spikes. And did we have to use sugar? No. Did we have to use stimulants? No, that's just coming from water. So your body ends up utilizing a lot of energy a lot more effectively when you drink water. And it's quite interesting that, a lot of people don't end up drinking water because their excuse is, I don't like to go to the washroom. But they still end up having caffeine, right? You'll end up having your coffee, you'll have your stimulants. But if you knew that stimulants actually act as a diuretic, where because it speeds up your blood flow, you actually have to take trips to the washroom, then you would never use that as an excuse. You would never say that I'm not drinking water because I don't want to go to the washroom, because having caffeine in itself actually makes you go to the washroom as well. So if you're a person who is having caffeine in order to have energy instead of water, let's make that switch. Start having your water as a base, as a foundation. And then if you need extra energy, then have your caffeine. Because what happens in the long run of having caffeine without water, you're going to end up drying your muscles. You're going to end up developing something called muscle knots or trigger points. And that's when your body starts hurting. You're going to have frozen shoulder. You're going to have other frozen joints. You're going to have sleep issues. You're going to develop a lot of metabolic problems because you're not drinking the part of life that has most of your energy. Okay, so one more number that we want to add is 95% of your blood, when it's healthy, should be water. Okay, 5% is coming from plasma. So again, blood, 95% of blood when you're healthy should be water, 5% coming from plasma. And how important is blood in our body? It's everything. It carries oxygen, it carries the immune system, it carries your carbs, fats, your proteins, it carries your hormones, it carries the calcium that makes up your bones. Everything about your body is made up of blood, okay? And 95% of that blood is made up of water. So again, how important is water? Extremely important. So that's why you got to keep drinking your water. Even if you're worried about peeing, just go to the washroom, okay? Because there are a lot more health benefits. They outnumber all of the, let's just say, short-term downfalls of drinking too much water. Okay, drinking too much water, like a lot of people say, oh, I'm worried about water poisoning. But you have to drink so much water and be so inactive and eat absolutely no food to the point you have, then you can get water poison. But not many people are at that point where they can be at risk for water poisoning. So don't worry about those things. What you want to do first is become the healthiest version of yourself first. And then you can worry about those other repercussions. Okay. So easy way to think about developing new habits. I want you to think about the person you want to become. What does that person look like? What does that person feel like? What is their body composition? Okay. And then you're going to make assumptions. What is their routine? What kind of things are they doing? How many times are they working out per week? What is their sleep schedule like? Are their friends stressing them out all the time, or do they have a very supportive network? Is that person drinking enough water throughout the day? How are they stretching? How are they exercising? Want you to think about the qualities of that person that makes up that body, okay? Because if you're ever going to get to your goals, you're going to eventually become that person who lives that lifestyle. It's not that, you cut your calories for a few weeks, but you're going to sacrifice on water, and then you're going to somehow figure it out that your body's going to get to those goals. No, you have to have balance in your life, and that's how you get to your goals. So every single night, if you're feeling like you're not getting closer to your goals, I want you to think about the person who has already gotten to your goals. And then think about the lifestyle. It's all on the spreadsheet, which is great. It's very organized. Calories are in check. Macros are in check. They're training consistently 3 to 4 minimum per week on moderate to high intensity exercise. They're getting their steps in. They're sleeping around 7 to 8 hours consistently, and it's deep sleep where they feel energized in the morning. Their stress levels are low on the top right corner, and they're constantly developing themselves every single week so that their lives are improving. Okay, so as long as you're consistently making those changes, you will eventually become that version of you that has the lifestyle, and the body will follow. All right, so start drinking your water. It's only good for you. Make sure that you're drinking your water before you have your caffeine or before you have your sugar. And just remember that when your blood is cleaner, your body moves better. When your blood is thick, then it's going to be hard for you to see any sort of change in your body. Okay. So that's my rant on water. I hope this helps. Please leave a comment down below if you have any other questions related to water. Oh, here's one last thing before we end. How much water should you drink? So a very easy guideline is your body weight in pounds divided by 2 equals the fluid ounces that you have to drink. For example, if you're a 150-pound person, divide that by 2 is 75 fluid ounces. And that's how much water you should be drinking on a base. Meaning if you're not exercising, you're not doing anything, that's how much water you should be drinking. And you're supposed to drink more water as you exercise. Now, how much water? It really depends on how much your body is dilating. So if you end up using your legs more, you end up doing exercise at a higher intensity that requires more muscles and more speed, more strength, well, you're going to want to drink more water. So maybe drink 2 cups of water every time you start to feel thirsty, and then start exercising. And with the excess water, you're going to end up peeing it out. Okay, so drink your water, feel the benefits first, and then write down a comment down below on how it's helped you. But yeah, get your healthy habits in first before we start using supplements. All right. Have a wonderful day, and see you next week.